I hope people find it inspiring, and yet also, it's a film about a heavy topic. It's about domestic violence, something that 1 in 3 women have to deal with globally. And we're just really proud of how the film turned out and the impact that it's had, and it's on Netflix now.
Wicked news is circulating that Ryan Reynolds was abruptly dropped by Marvel Studios sent shockwaves throughout the entertainment industry, leaving fans, Hollywood insiders, and even the general public in disbelief. Ryan Reynolds, one of Hollywood's most beloved and bankable stars, had built a reputation not just for his comedic chops, but also for being a key player in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. Known for his role as Deadpool, Reynolds had become synonymous with the character, delivering both box office success and critical acclaim. His charm, quick wit, and relatable everyman persona made him one of the most adored figures in modern Hollywood, and his connection to Marvel seemed inseparable. Marvel Studios, which is renowned for its careful management of relationships with its stars, rarely makes major moves like this unless there is a very compelling reason. For them to sever ties with a prominent actor like Reynolds suggested that something serious had transpired behind the scenes. The decision to part ways with Reynolds wasn't just about his roles or his performance. It was tied directly to a brewing scandal that was linked to his wife, Blakey Lively, and a high-profile Hollywood feud involving filmmaker Justin Baldoni. The initial whispers of discontent centered on creative differences between Lively and Baldoni during a film project. But as the situation unfolded, the narrative shifted. Leaked text messages revealed that Ryan Reynolds was deeply involved in the behind-the-scenes machinations, particularly in how media narratives were being controlled to favor his wife and damage the reputation of Baldoni. What initially seemed like a minor creative dispute escalated into a full-blown Hollywood scandal that exposed not just artistic differences, but also manipulation, deception, and an attempt to sabotage a respected director's career. Marvel, unwilling to ignore the mounting evidence, took the drastic step of cutting ties with Reynolds, effectively ending a long-standing partnership that had helped cement his position as a major star within the MCU. The fallout that led to Ryan Reynolds' abrupt dismissal from Marvel Studios was directly tied to explosive claims made by filmmaker Justin Baldoni. Baldoni, known for his emotionally charged and deeply human films, became an unexpected key player in a scandal that shook Hollywood. His involvement stemmed from a much-anticipated film project that he directed and co-wrote, which starred Blakey Lively in a leading role. The film, based on a beloved novel, initially seemed like a dream collaboration between Lively's star power and Baldoni's reputation for crafting emotionally resonant stories. However, what started as an exciting venture quickly devolved into a messy and public dispute behind the scenes. Lively, who had always been seen as a charming and graceful figure in the media, began to express frustrations with Baldoni's leadership on the project. She felt sidelined, claiming that Baldoni was not only overshadowing her contributions, but also controlling much of the creative direction. As the conflict escalated, insiders whispered about mounting tension on set, with Lively accusing Baldoni of manipulating the press to paint her in a negative light. Hollywood, with its long history of male directors undermining female talent, seemed to be rallying behind Lively, seeing her as another victim of an overbearing director. However, the situation took a sharp turn when leaked text messages from Baldoni's camp surfaced, revealing a completely different narrative. The text contradicted Lively's claims and painted a picture of her wielding significant power behind the scenes. She was found to have been pushing for script rewrites, dictating marketing strategies, and using her industry connections, including Ryan Reynolds, to manipulate the narrative. The most shocking revelation was that Lively had referred to Reynolds and other powerful figures in Hollywood as dragons, hinting at their ability to influence and control the direction of the film. As more material surfaced, Reynolds, who had previously been seen as an innocent bystander, was implicated in the feud. He had been actively helping Lively shape the narrative in her favor, using his position to launch a strategic smear campaign against Baldoni. This involvement directly contributed to the growing tension between Reynolds and Marvel Studios, leading to his eventual removal from the MCU. The explosive claims and the leaked messages painted a picture of a carefully orchestrated power play, one that Marvel could not ignore. The entire industry watched in shock as the drama unfolded, with the realization that the stakes were far higher than anyone had initially anticipated. Tensions between Blakey Lively and filmmaker Justin Baldoni had been brewing for some time during the production of a high-profile film project, which ultimately escalated into a full-blown public dispute that would have far-reaching consequences for the careers involved. The film, an adaptation of a beloved novel, seemed like a perfect match for Lively's star power and Baldoni's directorial reputation, which was built on creating deeply emotional and resonant stories. Lively, who was widely regarded as a talented actress with a broad appeal, was cast in the leading role, and the project initially generated much excitement both in Hollywood and among fans. However, behind the scenes, cracks began to form almost immediately. Lively, who had long been known for her grace and charm in the public eye, reportedly started to feel frustrated with her creative role in the film. According to insiders, Lively felt as though Baldoni was not only overshadowing her, but was also making critical decisions that minimized her contributions. As the production progressed, it became clear that Baldoni, who was not only directing the film, but was also heavily involved in the scriptwriting process and playing a key on-screen role, was taking on too many responsibilities, further fueling the tension. Hollywood has always been a place of intense competition and creative egos, but this situation was particularly volatile. The situation worsened when Lively allegedly began to accuse Baldoni of feeding the press a narrative that painted her as difficult, demanding, and hard to work with. This accusation seemed to fit into the well-known pattern of Hollywood male directors undermining female talent, and initially, the public was inclined to side with Lively. However, things took an unexpected turn when private text messages between Baldoni and his team were leaked. These messages painted a very different picture. Lively, far from being sidelined, had been actively influencing key decisions on the film, from script rewrites to the marketing strategy. The messages even revealed that she had used her powerful industry connections, including her husband Ryan Reynolds, to push her own agenda. As the tension escalated, what seemed like a behind-the-scenes creative clash quickly turned into a public spectacle. The conflict not only threatened the success of the film, but also drew attention to the intricate web of relationships, power plays, and strategic media manipulation at play. What had started as a relatively private dispute between two industry professionals became a major Hollywood drama, one that would have profound implications for Lively, Baldoni, and Reynolds. Blake Lively's public accusations against Justin Baldoni claimed that he had undermined her role in a high-profile film project, positioning her as the victim of an overbearing director who overshadowed her creative input. Initially, these allegations seemed plausible, given Hollywood's long history of male directors undermining their female counterparts. Lively, known for her charm and elegance, appeared to be just another talented actress caught in the crossfire of a director's creative control. This narrative quickly gained traction, with many fans and insiders rallying behind Lively, painting Baldoni as the villain. The public's initial support for Lively seemed to align with a broader cultural sentiment about women being unfairly treated in the entertainment industry, especially when it came to the control of their roles and the press narratives that followed. However, the situation took a dramatic turn when text messages from Baldoni's camp were leaked, flipping the entire narrative. The leaked messages revealed that Lively had much more influence behind the scenes than anyone initially realized. Far from being sidelined or ignored, Lively was actively shaping the direction of the film. She was shown to have pushed for significant script rewrites, provided strong input on the marketing strategies, and even attempted to control how the project was framed in the press. These revelations suggested that Lively was far more involved in the film's creative process than previously thought. She wasn't just a passive participant, she was, in fact, driving key decisions about the project's trajectory. The most shocking element of the leaks was Lively's reference to her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and other powerful Hollywood figures as dragons, a clear indication that she was willing to leverage their industry influence to ensure her vision for the film was realized. This was a stark contrast to her initial portrayal of being a victim of manipulation. The leaks painted Lively as someone who wasn't simply reacting to a controlling director, but actively wielding power in a calculated manner, using her position and connections to sway the production in her favor. As the details emerged, the public's perception of the dispute began to shift. Rather than being the helpless victim of Baldoni's creative control, Lively appeared to be a strategic player in a much more complex game. The leaked messages exposed a level of behind-the-scenes maneuvering that challenged the initial narrative, raising serious questions about how much influence she truly had, and whether the accusations of being undermined were more about controlling the narrative than about creative differences. This revelation set the stage for the larger Hollywood fallout, as it also implicated Reynolds, who had reportedly played a role in supporting Lively's behind-the-scenes efforts. The conflict no longer appeared to be just a director-actor spat. It was about a calculated power play, with Lively and Reynolds positioning themselves in a way that undermined Baldoni's professional integrity. As the dispute between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni escalated, Ryan Reynolds, who had previously been seen as an innocent bystander, found himself drawn into the drama in a way that would significantly damage his carefully cultivated public image. Initially, Reynolds had maintained a low profile, staying silent amid the growing tensions between his wife and the filmmaker. However, as more leaked material emerged, it became clear that Reynolds was far from passive in the unfolding controversy. In fact, the text message leaks revealed that he was actively involved in shaping the narrative around the dispute and supporting his wife's efforts behind the scenes. Rather than being simply a supportive husband offering moral support to Lively, Reynolds was found to have played a strategic role in manipulating public perception. The leaked messages depicted Reynolds as someone who wasn't just a bystander to the drama, but a key player in the behind-the-scenes power struggle. The text suggested that Reynolds had been in direct communication with key Hollywood figures, offering advice and support to Lively as she attempted to reshape the media narrative to her benefit. There were also indications that Reynolds had been involved in suggesting ways to leak stories to the press that would paint Baldoni in a negative light, thus making Lively appear as the victim in the situation. What made these revelations particularly damaging was that they contradicted Reynolds' carefully built public persona. For years, Reynolds had been known for his humor, self-deprecating charm, and everyman appeal. He had built his brand on being relatable and likable, someone who could laugh at himself and avoid controversy with witty remarks and a good-natured attitude. However, the leaked messages revealed a more calculating side of Reynolds, one involved in orchestrating a behind-the-scenes smear campaign, his usual lighthearted approach to controversy, which had allowed him to navigate previous scandals with ease, was no longer sufficient to deflect the seriousness of the situation. Marvel Studios, which had long been invested in Reynolds as a major part of their future plans, could not ignore the implications of his involvement in this drama. The studio, known for its tight control over its stars and its careful management of public relations, faced a dilemma. Reynolds was a key figure in the MCU, with his Deadpool character being integral to the franchise's success. Yet the evidence suggesting that he had played an active role in undermining a respected filmmaker and manipulating public opinion was too serious to ignore. Marvel's eventual decision to part ways with Reynolds was influenced not just by the controversy surrounding his involvement, but also by the potential long-term damage to the MCU's reputation. Reynolds, once seen as an untouchable star, found himself facing a career crisis unlike anything he had experienced before. His involvement in the scandal cast a shadow over his future prospects in Hollywood, and the public's perception of him shifted dramatically. Marvel Studios' decision to sever ties with Ryan Reynolds was a monumental move that sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Known for its carefully managed public relations and loyal partnerships with its stars, Marvel's decision to part ways with one of its most successful and beloved actors was unprecedented. Reynolds, who had become a pillar of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, with his portrayal of Deadpool, was integral to the studio's long-term plans, both financially and artistically. His charm, comedic timing, and ability to connect with audiences had made him a fan favorite, ensuring the success of his projects within the MCU. The idea that Marvel would take such a drastic step against a star of his caliber sent a powerful message to the entire industry. No one, not even the biggest names in Hollywood, is above the consequences of their actions, especially when they threaten the integrity of a billion-dollar franchise. The decision to cut Reynolds was largely driven by the leaked text messages and evidence suggesting that he had been actively involved in a smear campaign against Justin Baldoni, the filmmaker behind the controversial film project that initially ignited the scandal. Marvel's executives, after reviewing the bombshell evidence, realized that Reynolds' actions were not just a minor behind-the-scenes conflict. They were part of a calculated attempt to manipulate public perception and discredit a respected director. The scandal surrounding Reynolds' involvement in the drama threatened to undermine the careful balance that Marvel had worked so hard to achieve in building its brand. Marvel's swift and decisive move to fire Reynolds was not just about protecting its reputation, it was a reflection of the studio's commitment to maintaining clean, drama-free relationships with its lead actors and collaborators. The leaks, which painted Reynolds as complicit in the power plays orchestrated by his wife, Blake Lively, and their industry connections, were simply too damaging to overlook. By cutting ties with Reynolds, Marvel was sending a clear message to the entertainment industry. The studio would not tolerate underhanded behavior, no matter how big the star involved. For Reynolds, the fallout was swift and severe. His once unshakable public persona, built built on humor and charm, took a significant hit. Hollywood, which had long adored him for his relatability and wit, began to question the true nature of his character. Fans who once saw him as the ultimate good guy now found themselves grappling with the reality that the charming, everyman persona was hiding a more calculated, strategic side. The decision by Marvel to part ways with Reynolds was a stark reminder of the high stakes involved in Hollywood's power dynamics, where a single misstep or behind-the-scenes maneuver could have catastrophic consequences for even the most beloved stars. As the dust settled, the industry watched closely to see how this scandal would unfold. Would Reynolds issue an apology, attempt a public redemption arc, or attempt to salvage his reputation through other means? Regardless of the outcome, one thing was clear: the consequences of the scandal were far-reaching, not just for Reynolds and his career, but for the entire Hollywood ecosystem. Marvel's decision to act decisively had set a precedent, signaling a shift in the way the industry handles controversies, especially when star power and public relations manipulation intersect. Ryan Reynolds may have been one of Hollywood's brightest stars, but the fallout from this scandal made it clear that even the biggest names could be held accountable for their actions.